Hi, so in this video I am talking about an international travel issue that can come up. Sonia writes, "Dear Morgan, my ex is from another country and we are in the middle of a contentious divorce. He wants to take the kids to see his dying mother in another country and I am terrified that he will never come back." So Sonia, this is a very serious issue and a very complicated one. Here in New York, I've had a number of cases dealing with this, and a lot of times the backstory is that dad has made a threat to take the kids and leave, and this is something that mom can never let go of, and rightfully so. So these cases, from a legal perspective, fall into two main categories. Countries that have signed the Hague Convention Treaty on Parental Abduction, and that's an international agreement that says these countries are going to work together to get the kids back. And countries that have not signed that treaty. So first we're going to talk about cases where we're dealing with the Hague Convention. Countries that have signed are mainly first world countries, many of the countries of Europe, for example. Just because a country has signed the Hague Convention Treaty does not mean that the country has a good record for upholding its end of the bargain. So it's important to know that every year the U.S. Department of State puts out a compliance report that reviews how compliant that country is in dealing with a case like this. The last time I checked, when I was dealing with a case involving Greece, that country is a signatory country but has an abysmal compliance report. So it had taken a parent in Texas more than 5 years to even get close to resolution in one of those cases in Greece. And that's important for you to bring up to the judge's attention in your case. What is compliance like? Next, the treaty does provide protection, but it ages out. So if your child is going to be turning 16 during this time period, you are not protected by the Hague Convention Treaty. Finally, these cases are intensely expensive. You are going to be filing an action in federal court, and you need to hire the most experienced attorney that you can find. So these are sticky, tricky, expensive cases, and you've got to be prepared mentally for that. Next, there are non-treaty countries, cases involving non-treaty countries. Those countries have their own procedures, and you need to find a lawyer that thoroughly understands that specific country, because sometimes those countries have very clear laws and other times they don't. Lately, we've had a number of cases dealing with Algeria, which is a country that has extremely harsh views on women. In fact, it's so harsh that even cases that I've had where mom is also a citizen of Algeria, she's confided that she will have no chance of getting her kids back under that system. So if there are things like that that you know, if there's facts that you can find out about that specific country, you've got to find it out so that you can bring that evidence to the judge's attention in your case. Either way, whether you're dealing with a Hague Convention case or a non-signatory country, here's my advice. If you're scared that he's going to leave, you need to make your best arguments to the divorce court about why this trip should not be allowed. You're going to attack his connections to the state where you're living. I mean, does he have any relatives in your state? Does he have any friends? Does he have any associations? Is he involved in any civic groups? Or is your marriage his only connection to your state? Because if it is, that's a serious concern. You want to also look at what is his ability to earn income in the other country versus here. Because maybe he's a doctor in that country and he's only a taxi cab driver here. So if he stays there, maybe he'll be able to make as much money or more in that other country. That's a big problem. Show the court the compliance ratings or show the court the rate of return if the country isn't a signatory, and you need to get that evidence for this judge. Still, there is a strong chance the court may say, I think these kids should see their dying grandmother. If that is the case, and the court is going to allow the trip, then what you are going to do is you are going to get the court to give you a court order that says several things, says at least these 4 things. Number 1, you are getting temporary sole custody. It's limited to while he is on the trip. It gives you sole custody while he's on the trip. That way, if he does overstay, you already have sole custody of the kids. It's giving you a leg up in the event of an overstay so that you don't have to go back and try to get sole custody before you commence your action under the Hague Convention or whatever other procedures you may need from the other country that you're dealing with. Number 2, you are going to order that he must prove that he's purchased the return tickets. This is setting a firm deadline for his return and also for the kids' return. This lets you know when is there going to be an overstay. It's marked by these return tickets. Maybe you need to give a little bit of leeway for if the airline changes the flights due to delays or weather or something, but you need to have this firm deadline so that you know when you have to start fighting. Number 3, you're going to see if you can't get the judge to really drive home to him how bad it will be for him if he does not come back. He will be arrested. He will be stripped of his custodial rights. If he has any assets here, they will become yours. If he has family members here, they may be somehow punished. You really need to have that message driven home to him before he leaves. And number 4, and this is important, you want him to be ordered to post a bond. That's right, a bond. And I'm not talking about a $10,000 bond. I am talking about nothing less than $150K. Even more if possible, because that is how much it's going to take you to start fighting to get your kids back. You need that money to fight for them, so you need him to be ordered to post it. That doesn't mean that he has to have $150K. It just means he needs some sort of collateral to get that kind of bond. There are organizations that deal with these types of issues. There are bail bondsmen that know how to do this. So you need to have a court order that says he must post this kind of bond. And there may be other assets in the marriage that you could have the court say, if he doesn't come back, boom, those are yours. And that will give you some sort of asset to start fighting these cases, on your children's behalf. So if you have any questions about this or anything else, feel free to send me an email.